My closest brother to me was 14 years, and he was the youngest of that family. So you guys and ladies are all looking at a mistake. No question about that. And for that reason, my parents were a little bit older, and they had a dairy farm, and they were going to put shareholders on. So I was wondering about what I could do, and I had an uncle here at Tairua called Lige Green, and he got me the job here at Tairua. I came through Waihi. I left Warrapoa at about 11 o'clock in the morning, got to Waihi, had to be there by 2 o'clock. Johnny Savage was the taxi, or the driver of the car that delivered the stuff to Tairua. I was supposed to leave at 2 o'clock. He come wandering out of the robbery at 4 o'clock with a farmer from up the road, from the foot of the hill there of the Whangamata turn-off, Gordon Peterson. So we finally got away, and the next long stop was, of course, we called him at the port and so forth, which was nothing in those days. A man called Williamson owned all that. And we got down to the Whangamata pub, and of course that was another hour of time. But anyway, we finally made it through here into Tairua, and I got here just on 10 o'clock at night. So that was my introduction to Tairua. The first thing, when I got out of the car, I couldn't believe the breakers on the beach. It was a big roar. Now, I'd never been near the sea, you know, only further Thames. Couldn't believe it. And the following morning, I went down to have a look at the breakers, and there was a big sea running, and the roar of that, and we'd never heard it. Unbelievable. So yeah, so that was my introduction into Tairua. I came to work, of course, for Mr. Wright, who I refer to as HA, and I got 17 shillings and 6pence a week. It was a start, but after a couple of months I got a guinea a week, so that was my first really introduction to it. It's hard to explain the waste of timber that was on that. Just imagine from the Pippi Bridge right around to the causeway, and Jan here has actually got a photograph of it, of some of them up underneath the hall, but that's only a sprinkling of what it was. And I'd pick up these slabs and take them back, and then of course you'd boil up for the pigs and so forth. That went on for quite a while, and then I got a promotion, and I was introduced then to how to slaughter a beast and so forth, and the slaughterhouse was right down on the edge of Grimes Creek, and everything went into the swamp, but of course all the offal and everything came back up. I was taught how, and of course Lige, my uncle, he was, before he came to Tairua, he was a butcher and a slaughterman, so he taught me all these things. And I was taught how to kill sheep and so forth, how to shear sheep and all that sort of thing, you know. And really it was, looking back on it, was a hell of an experience. And in fact, after being taught for a while, I actually took over the butcher shop and used to break the meat down, and we sent meat over to Finucane. You notice I say Finucane, not the modern way. And used to send meat over to there, but we also used to send meat out to Boat Harbour. Now there was a couple out there at Boat Harbour, Roberts and Corns, and they were gold mining out there. And once a week we'd send over the bread and meat and whatever other stuff they wanted. And in fact, a chap called Arnold Laycock, who's dead now, he was the eldest of the Laycock family around here. He used to ride out once a week and take all this goods out to Load Harbour. And that and except he used to have a couple of big packs, sacks on the back of his horse, and he'd fill it all up on the way he'd go, you know. And so we used to supply, and I done the butchering, and I also used to deliver around Tairua. And I used to deliver up as far as Beecher's house, but I'd have a hell of a job of getting away from there. The cook, of course, made me a cup of tea. In other words, she was baiting the trap. But anyway, I then went on. Of course, Kairouites, where all these houses are down here now. That was 5 paddocks, beautiful grass paddocks, and which included the football field. It was fenced off, and we used to ship the sheep and cattle or whatever it was out of there about 3 or 4 days before the football. And that was all that was on. There was only 3 houses this side of the bridge. There's a house up here which is still there, been all done up, and the other little old house that I came to is just down the road here off the old Kairouite Drive, not the new one. But it's all been altered, and I can't recognise it now. But that's where I came to, and of course there was the Kairouite homestead. There was 3 houses. In fact, in Tairua itself, there was 15 houses. That was the township of Tairua. And that includes the 4 around the Pippi, which was Laycock's and an old fellow called Jewel Lotts. He had a house, and there was two batches around there. Two pensioners lived around there. And that included, that were the only houses that was in Tairua. I didn't count them at the time, but we've been counting them up in the last week, and we've had a few arguments over this, and her figures never matched up with mine. They were always cribbing in 1 or 2 more, so we cut out the beach house. We don't count it now, and that eliminated 1. But yeah, and of course, the St George Grey Hotel, some of you might know it, where it was burnt down. I was here when that got burnt down. And the old school. The school was right opposite or virtually opposite the St George Grey Hotel. There was the butter factory, of course, and there was the Beecher's store. And Kairouites in himself, he had a small shop up in his shed, just made it mainly for his workers. When I